Joining me now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is Senate Majority Whip, Wyoming Senator John Barrasso. Senator, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Maria.
I know you've been working hard on this reconciliation package. Do you feel you have the votes to get it over the finish line in the Senate?
I'm very confident we'll get there, Maria. Look, these first 100 days with President Trump, you talk about the pace and the progress made. It's been breathtaking. And in terms of securing the border, getting his cabinet in place so quickly, lowering prices for the first time in 4 years, amazing. But it's not just those first 100 days, it's the next 100 days are critical because we probably have a shorter period of the time than that. We have promised the American people safety and prosperity. And that means a comprehensive economic plan that needs to be passed so we can get to this strong, healthy economy that is growing. So those are the things we want to do. Higher wages, lower costs, more jobs here in America, bring them back home. The other reason we have to get this done in a timely manner is that if we don't, the Democrats' $4 trillion tax increase will come into play. We need to stop that. The Democrats are trying to make us fail because they like high taxes. They like big spending government. Look, they're the party of open borders, high prices. We will succeed. We need to succeed. It's so important to put more money back into the American people's pockets.
So, Senator, tell us what the issues are. I mean, everything that you just laid out, someone who is not focused on all the details would say, well, why wouldn't all of the senators be in favor of that? The last time you had to do this back in President Trump's first term, you didn't get this done until December, the end of the year. What are the issues that are holding back some of your colleagues? Is it raising the debt ceiling? Is it SALT? What is it specifically?
Well, specifically, I like to talk about the things we agree on, and we agree on securing the border. We agree on keeping taxes low and getting prices down. And those are the things we agree on. And we have actually done a blueprint. It passed the House. It passed the Senate. So we're on the right path. And you mentioned earlier the numbers. We need 51 votes in the Senate. The House needs 218 votes. As the whip, my job is to make sure that we can get the votes there. That's my focus. But let's talk about why this is so important that we get through any of the distractions of where we disagree. I was at a pancake breakfast yesterday morning in Wyoming, talking to a woman who was telling me just how hard it has been for her and her family the last 4 years of the Biden administration. She knows it's going to take us a while to get out of this hole that we're in, but it matters to her that we get this economic plan done quickly. To me, that's the deadline. That's the urgency to put money into her pocket. And so many of these proposals that the president has come up with are critically important to people. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. To me, that's why we need to get this done quickly. Put this in place.
And some of your members might come back at you and say, sure, but this is our one opportunity to actually get spending under control and cut into that $37 trillion in debt. Do you believe that you will be able to match what the House has identified, $1.5 trillion in spending cuts? Because so far, the Senate has come up with what? $3 or $4 billion in spending cuts. So tell us now, definitively, do you believe you'll be able to match the House's spending cuts?
Well, I do, and actually our number is a little higher than that of what we'd like to get to. The American people know the government is too big, it spends too much. They saw this list of things that have come out of the spending under the bloated budgets of the Biden administration for the last 4 years that have given us the highest inflation in 40 years. And when people see this list of $20 million for Sesame Street in Iraq or sex change operations in Guatemala, people are furious here in Wyoming and across the country.
Yeah.
The Democrats are mad, too, not because of the amount of spending, but because we exposed the amount of spending that we're done. We need to wipe this out.
Right. Well, look, you've done a great job. Let's not forget, it wasn't just the best 100 days for a president. In these last 100 days, it was also a very positive 100 days for you and your colleagues in the Senate, having passed President Trump's cabinet in record time. Congratulations to you on that, as well as passing things like the Laken-Riley Act and the Fentanyl Act. But I want to get that number. What number do you believe you'll be able to come up with in terms of spending cuts? You just said to me it'll be more than $1.5 trillion. What are you thinking?
Well, that's what we're working on. You know, this members of the Senate Finance Committee, we've been meeting since last summer on coming up with potential reductions in spending by the federal government. Our aim is $2 trillion. I don't know that we're going to get there. We're going to match whatever the House is able to do. We need to get a bill past the House, past the Senate, to the president's desk so we can make a difference in the lives of the American people and get this country back on track and get more money into their pockets.
And, of course, we've got some very good signals. I mean, last week we had very good jobs numbers, right? The jobs numbers for the month of April coming in up 177,000 in April versus an estimate of 130,000. People are seeing job opportunities. President Trump has kept his promise in terms of reining in inflation. With oil down and the price of eggs down, et cetera, et cetera. So can you improve that situation with this big, beautiful bill?
Well, I think when you take a look at what we're looking at with this comprehensive economic plan that the Republicans have been promoting, we're not looking at just 1 year, 2 years. We're looking about a stable base for the American economy for decades to come so people can be more prosperous. So we have a strong, healthy, growing economy, more money in people's pockets. That's what we're committed to do. Look, we did in 2017. You're right. It took till the end of the year, but it gave our country the best economy in my lifetime. We want to do that again.
Senator, real quick on tariffs. This is sort of the one controversial thing when you talk to Wall Street, certainly at investors. We understand that China is quietly exempting certain imports from the United States, which seems to be a little bit of an olive branch. They want to do it in a proud way. They don't want to look like they're caving to President Trump. What can you tell us about the impact of tariffs and where you see this going? Because we see that China could be inching toward a U.S. trade deal, according to Scott Bessent, who was with me last week on Mornings with Maria.
Well, with regard to tariffs, you know, they are just one part of this major economic plan that we're putting in place. They're a tool to get people that have not been treating us fairly to treat us fairly. And with regard to China, it is a way for us to stand up to China. For years, they have taken advantage of us. They have gotten rich. They have gotten strong. You know, over that, they've rebuilt their military. They steal our trade secrets, all of those things. And we need to continue to stand up to China. Once after COVID, we said never again will we be beholden to them as we were for critical minerals, critical materials, critical medicine. We need to do that in the United States.
Very important point that you make, Senator. Your work is so important, particularly today. We so appreciate your time. We'll be watching your work, so thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
Senator John Barrasso.